Hello, everyone. Welcome to You'll Probably Agree. Today I have the blonde in front, Katie Glidewell, with me, and we saw a little movie, not a big deal, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Um, you know, I kind of didn't feel that, I didn't know how to feel about this movie going in, because it feels like Marvel kind of popped their multiverse thriller balloon with Spider-Man. And then since then, it's kind of felt like it's been on autopilot. More than anything, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania felt like an extended episode of Loki, where it's about the villain that they introduced at the end of the show. And like E-Man was telling us earlier, E-Man Noisette, check out his work. He said, like, yeah, you're not going to understand what's going on in this movie unless you've seen the last episode of Loki, and yeah, I have to say that's true. There wasn't really a lot to the plot outside of, wanting to get back with your family and get home and spend time with them, and yeah, it was just okay. If this is what I'm gonna expect from Kang, I kind of want to expect a little more at this point. What do you think?
So I'm going to disagree.
Okay.
I do believe that Quantumania really goes into family, but also some social issues regarding displacement and refugees that is very relevant right now. They really touch on that in the world that Scott Lang and Hope Pym and Hank Pym and Janet Pym and Cassie live in, but then also in the quantum realm. Like, I definitely felt that they were going for a social commentary,
Right.
big time in this film that you haven't seen a lot, and a lot of that has to do with the blip. Many changes can happen in 5 years. They talk about people lost their homes and then they can't even afford rent. I feel like that's very relevant in cities around the country right now, at how increasingly, the rents are getting out of control, and people are there. Homeless camps are like in every major city, and that is a really big problem, and they touch on that in the film. And then different aspects in the quantum realm, they kind of touch on that. I can't do any spoilers right now, but
Right.
I felt that Kang is I feel like he's the bad that Marvel needs. I think he completely is worse than Thanos ever could be, because you really see, and I think that's because you see I think it's because of the performance by Jonathan Majors. I think he's absolutely incredible. His acting in this is amazing. I feel like Michelle Pfeiffer, she did an incredible job as Janet. There's some funny parts in it that honestly are kind of feel a little off. But then by the end, they kind of come around. And it's like, all right, well, you know what? I forgive you. I think you're fine.
Right.
And yeah, I thought this was actually a little better than I thought it would be going into it. I'm a little still on the fence with some casting that they had to add some people in for certain parts, but
Right.
for the most part, I mean, Paul Rudd, God, that guy does not age. He's amazing.
Yeah,
And
it's incredible.
I mean, him as Scott Lang, from the first one to this, he just hasn't changed at all. But I'm really, really happy to see like Michelle Pfeiffer having a major role in this film and showing those acting chops that she has, and not to mention the fact that she's absolutely gorgeous. Like,
Yeah.
she's just breathtaking in this, and that is fantastic. But I feel like, Quantumania really is, the possibilities are endless of where it can go, and especially at the end.
Yeah, well, that's the one thing. I felt like Quantumania is like a big kind of setup for movies that are going to come. And I was expecting a little more payoff in this. I will say Jonathan Majors he's awesome. He knocks it out of the park. Like, there's one movie he was in I saw earlier this year, or last year I should say, called Devotion. And that movie wasn't so great, but he was great in it. You know, he really elevates the performance. He elevates the film. And yeah, when he's on screen, you're leaning in on his words because at first you kind of feel bad for the guy. You think, oh, you know, I can't get into spoilers, but you know, he seems like he's well intentioned until you actually see what's in his mind and what he's doing and what he's capable of. I don't know. I guess like the thing that kind of threw me off with him is when he has like a big climactic fight with Ant-Man. It seems like I wouldn't think like Ant-Man would be able to take him down so easily. And I'm like, man, if that was Thanos would have just squashed him like a bug. You know, if you fought
True.
him.
I mean, I don't know if I would agree so easily, but I
Right.
will say this after watching that fight, that, you know, I'm obviously there's going to be some sort of confrontation. I don't think that's a big spoiler, but watching Jonathan Majors doing what he's doing, I am definitely going to be there on any type of pre-screening we could just do
Yeah.
for the new Creed movie because ooh, if that is just a taste of what we're about to see in that, oh, Michael B. Jordan, you better watch out. That's going to be something because, man, Jonathan Majors is not holding back in this at all
No.
as Kang, so I can't even imagine what he's going to be like as a professional boxer in Creed. Yeah.
That would be amazing because Jonathan Major always kind of, you know, he's always above the script. He knows how to rise above and give the audience what they need. You know, I think he just knows how to emotionally hit his cues like on instant. He's definitely someone where I want to know more about his character because they set up a lot of mystery behind him. Like, who is he? Where's he from? Which one is the real him? Because, you know, when we deal with the quantum realm and we deal with multiversing, we're dealing with multiple copies of one person, which I'm not sure if that's a spoiler or not, but Kang is capable of doing kind of whatever he wants by manipulating reality. And yeah, I want to see where he's going to go. I think Jonathan Majors will elevate it a lot. Anyways, moving on from that, I always find it funny how every Marvel film has an inciting incident that usually involves an experiment gone wrong or someone mixing magic the wrong way. You know, you take it back to Spider-Man No Way Home. The reason the whole multiverse opened up was because Peter Parker couldn't make up his mind on who he wants to not have people remember him and whatever, so on and so forth. And then this movie opens up with an experiment that goes wrong because Hope was it wasn't Hope. Yeah, she was inventing a way for people to enter the quantum realm. But Cassie, thank you. She ended up creating something that was maybe a little more that she could chew off, you know. But if we go down the visual effects in this one actually were better than most visual effects I've seen in most Marvel films for a while. And this is heavily reliant on CGI, this film. You know, like I'm gonna guess like 99% of those sets were like half a set and then the rest is a green screen wall, but they managed to make it look pretty believable. We saw it in a 2D theater, so there wasn't like a lot of 3D or HFR adapted to the imagery that would make it move a little differently. But yeah, in terms of that, you know, amazing job visually what they could do.
Yeah, I agree. I even said at the end, like, I wish we would have seen this in 3D because I believe this is a film, and this is a great film to invest in seeing in 3D and with the Dolby sound. Even we saw in the Dolby Theater, incredible with the sound they did. I think Bill Pope, who's the director of photography, amazing job. Peyton Reed, fantastic.
Yeah.
I think he's did an incredible job directing this. And yeah, there are a few instances that I was a little confused with. Again, since it's, you know, with the blip that happens, you've got a 5-year window where things have changed and sometimes maybe they haven't. And I don't know, maybe the audience isn't supposed to know, but there were a few things that I was just a little confused about that maybe it's like, was there a Disney Channel show that an episode I missed or something? But it wasn't so much that I'm like, I'm not going to see this and not recommend it. I mean, you know, I went along with it. The ants were great.
Oh, yeah. Seeing those in 3D. Ooh, my God.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
And, you know, I liked there were kind of like definitely I felt like some influences to Return of the Jedi, multiple Star Wars, little bit of Flash Gordon.
Oh yeah. Well, his suit looks like Flash Gordon a little bit.
Kind of a little bit. I can see that. But yeah, definitely with some creatures that we get to experience. Flash Gordon, like some amoebas, some I don't know. When I do a spoiler review, I'm going to go into something that
Right.
not for it's going to be earmuffs for the kids because of something that I noticed in I can't really say what it is, but it was very funny that I actually wrote it down. But yeah, I would recommend this film. I think this it makes me, definitely think that something bad is very, very, very bad is coming. And with, again, Jonathan Majors is Kang, it's like, I want to see it. Like, I am ready because I think, right now, I don't think he can do any wrong. Like, I think this is definitely the beginning of something major with him.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Right.
And I look forward to seeing the next one that's out there that he's going to be in, and the next one that's focused on Ant-Man and the crew.
It was funny when you were mentioning Star Wars. I was like, there was a different Star Wars movie I noticed. Like when you see one of the dimensions, it looked like the ending to Attack of the Clones when they're like loading the clones up in the big Star Destroyers to go to war. Well, it's like I'm not saying what it is. I'm just saying that it looked like the end of Attack of the Clones. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute, did they really just borrow from that movie, or is that just me?
Well, and I definitely felt like there was like kind of an influence from maybe a little bit of Wreck-It Ralph, the second one, and Army of Darkness. But again, I definitely feel like it's a film worth seeing. See it in 3D, see it in Dolby. But I feel like Marvel, it could take a little while. It is a little long, but there's a lot of stuff it's covering, and especially to lead into, more films, which is typical Marvel. Stay for the post-credit, stay for the,
mid-credits and post-credits.
And that's one of the things when I saw people leaving, it's like, come, ha, ha, ha. This is Marvel. There's always going to be like 2 extra credits. What are you guys doing?
You always
like,
got to give you
down.
a little treat,
Yeah.
It's like giving a dog a treat. Like,
a little taste.
Yeah. Well, you get a taste of everything that's going to happen. Because in this film, it felt like it had almost like half a plot. Because the plot, just to like go over what the trailers have shown without getting into spoiler territory, the plot is about Scott Lang trying to recover time with his daughter that he's lost, or at least the trailer's trying to make us think that, and
I don't watch trailers, so I don't know.
It was weird. This one I did a little bit just because I'm like, I guess it's on here. I might as well go check it out. Because this one, it's really about someone trying to get together with their family when all that time has gone by. Because as we know with the blip, there was how many years in between
5
Endgame? Yeah, 5 years that Scott didn't get to spend with his daughter. And the one who can give him that very precious time back is Kang. And he's very alluring in his performance. You kind of go, oh, wait, maybe this guy could help me out. But then again, Scott Lang isn't exactly the smartest protagonist. But then again, I think that's kind of his character flaw, but also a strength. Because, although he is not the brightest light bulb in the room, he has a lot of heart. And he did save the universe once. He did save the world because of that mouse in Endgame didn't walk on that little button to bring Scott Lang back, then everyone probably would have been dead. But thank God for him, he was around. And I mean, with this one, I'm wondering where they're gonna go with it. I'm wondering because everyone who's read the comics are like, oh my God, something's gonna happen, oh my God. I'm like, okay, so when's the movie when I start to see all the I'll be honest, I kind of want to see, Tom Cruise come in an Iron Man suit. I want to see some stuff like that, especially when we're dealing with Quantumania and multiverses. When are we going to start to see those big payoffs? I guess we got a little bit of that in Doctor Strange with, Professor X, and then you had Jim from The Office playing, playing Reed Richards, who's supposed to be the smartest man in the world, which he does a very dumb thing and tells Scarlet Witch how she could instantly be killed by Deadbolt, so then she uses it against him. But I mean, from here, I'm feeling like a lot of setup, but I don't know, like just not a lot of payoff. Just a lot of there's a lot of stuff like I love my family. I'm gonna get back together with my family. That's great, but let's move on the story. Where are we gonna go from here, other than a final battle in the end? Because every Marvel film has to, we've seen how many of these over the years now, 20 or more Marvel films. After a while, the structure so well, it just kind of feels all the same. It kind of bleeds together. And this one doesn't really stand out for me above the other films.
See, for me, I think when Marvel's going into all the multiverses, it's just opening up, endless and an infinity of possibilities that you could. Yes, Chris Evans has said he's stepped down from Captain America. Yes, Robert Downey Jr. has stepped away from Iron Man. However, with everything that we've seen with the multiverses, there's always a possibility, and that gives them the possibility, that open door that they could always come back. Right. That's what I think, with any of these Marvels. Even Scarlett Johansson, I would personally love to see, Miss Romanoff come back from when we last saw her in Endgame, because I don't think she got the ending, that everyone wanted her, or at least that I wanted her to have. And I know, she had her own side movie, but I would love her to come back. I just think that's one of the things with the multiverses. It always gives me hope that it's even though these characters have gone away, at least from what they've told us, there's always that chance. You know what? Oh, look at this. You go down this world. Here's this. You go down this path, and there's that, and they're all coming back. So it just gives me hope.
Right. Yeah, and it's good to hope. And we're seeing a lot of others. We're seeing Warner Brothers borrowing a note from Disney here with the Flash trailer just came out yesterday, 2 days ago. And I've watched it ad nauseum, because seeing something like Michael Keaton return as Batman, that's the thing that, I can complain all about, they're just going for nostalgia, it's cheap, it's this and that. But then, boy, when they do grab for that nostalgia and they do it right, like they did in Spider-Man, you go, oh my God, what could they do? And really, this movie, it feels more like a selling point than a total final film. I enjoyed the villain. I enjoyed his thirst for power, but I just felt like I was missing a little more movie in here. I'm glad it's only 2 hours. I'm glad they didn't try to make this thing 2.5 hours and go crazy with it, because 90% of the movie takes place in the quantum realm. It's not on Earth. And that's kind of fun to see, where you're in this totally different universe, but I just wanted to see or get something with the characters a little more than, oh, I love you and I miss you and I want to be with you. Yeah, we know that, but what else do we have?
I don't know. I just feel it's endless possibilities, and I look forward to the next one. As far as DC, personally, I have things to say about The Flash and everything that went on with that, but I will keep that to myself, because I don't think I'm allowed to curse on this.
You can. But
this.
Yeah,
well,
there's a whole can of worms.
Fuck it. No, I'm not going to curse. So, but go see Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
You could go see it, or you could not. No, just kidding. No, I did. I'll say this. I did enjoy it for the time that it gave me. I didn't think, I know I sound like I'm bashing on the movie and that. I'm not. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's actually entertaining. It's just that it's very much worth your time if you're really into Loki and all the multiverse stuff. But if you're coming in this fresh, you're probably gonna go, oh, okay, what are they talking about? I don't understand this. So they need to have a little more something on its back to anchor the story through.
Agree to disagree.
Right. Okay, so what do you think that this film had that maybe some of the others didn't, that you really enjoyed?
I think the CGI is absolutely incredible. It's hard to say that others don't have that. I think that Jonathan Majors is the antagonist was better. Actually, I feel like he was a substantial antagonist. And also, I like the fact that he's not CGI.
Right.
Maybe that's a lot, with Thanos and his crew, is that they're all CGI. I love the voices that, accompany those actors, but I like to see that person with other actors acting and doing what they're doing. I love seeing Michelle Pfeiffer being able to have a role that makes her shine, because she is one of my favorites and always will be. Was it hokey? Yes. There are definitely a number of parts that are like, what?
But I'll say the hokey humor works because it's cute, but it doesn't get too distracting in this one like it does with some other Marvel. Because some Marvel movies, they try to interject so much humor that it becomes detrimental to the plot. But here, no, they have humor, but it actually helps with the, let's say, with the structure of the film. You're like, oh my God, how is that? Wow. And that's one of the things where multiversing kind of works. So, for a Disney movie, I have to say, they dropped a lot of, swears for a Disney movie. This one, they said, shit and dick in it about, 3 times each.
They said holy shit a lot.
Yeah.
Which I think was justified.
Yeah.
The times they said it. And it's funny. But, yeah, then they dropped a D-bomb every once in a while. Well, actually, they said, dick 4 times. It was all within the same minute. It was all within the same minute. But I don't know. I just left feeling good about this one at the end. I do think the ending, the ending honestly kind of left me, the first ending, kind of left me I thought that was kind of weak.
Yeah.
But then, the mid-credit and post-credit scene, I thought were solid and makes me look forward to different things on Disney Plus, makes me look forward to different films that Marvel's going to be hitting out. And that's somewhat different than some of the films that have been coming out lately. I feel like there's a lot that they're putting out there, and I don't know, it seemed kind of, some of them, especially last year, just seemed kind of rushed or not how the original was. This kind of feels like the original, even though you see some familiar faces. I wish there were some people in this one that we have been in Ant-Man's in the past. I feel like they were missing. But again, there's a lot. I actually spoke to someone about this, anytime with the blip, there's always there's always an excuse of what can happen. Maybe people didn't blip out and they died within the 5 years. Maybe people moved. Maybe, it's 5 years. 5 years is a long time.
Could you just imagine this? This is a really dark thought, but I'm like, man, could you just imagine how many people lost people and the suicide rate during the blip would have been huge. Yeah,
and when they come back to they think they've been gone for 2 seconds and realize what happened. And it's one of the things they've talked about this with what is it, Bucky and I forget the Disney Plus. There's
the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yes,
I know.
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I kept calling it Bucky and Friends.
Yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier with the whole thing with the blip. People governments are toppled. Governments change. You have huge people of industry that are just gone, and then they come back and they want to regain what they had before, and you just can't go back to that. And that's some serious stuff that they're putting out in what you could say a quote unquote comic book movie, which I'm not saying that. It's just, that's what people have said. But Marvel, I think, transcends that. I think, they really are going with storylines that are much deeper than you would imagine. And that's one of the reasons why I love them. But with the blip definitely has so many different connotations that you can go into. And again, that's what with the multiverse, there's so many possibilities. They're absolutely endless. So I don't know. I kind of like the way this one was. There's different things I could say about Thor: Love and Thunder and
Yeah.
Black Panther, the second Black Panther,
Wakanda
and
Forever.
and Doctor Strange, the multiverse and stuff that I had. But I think I'm liking, what Marvel's putting out there for 2023.
It's funny with Doctor Strange, that movie felt rushed and like the visual. I remember the first shot in the movie. I'm like, oh my god, this looks like Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
It definitely did.
Yeah, and you see sort of the rushed post production on that, and then you compare it to this movie where the post production is really impressive. Like I'll say, some of the lighting on the characters' faces didn't quite match the environment, but that's just like a little nitpick I had. But you look at the visuals in this, it's like I could spend like another 2 hours in the quantum realm. It's an absolute treat for the eyes.
Yes. Yeah. And we can't spoil it, we can't talk about the different characters and stuff that are there, but believe me, worth it.
Yeah, it is. And then, for 2 hours, I didn't feel like the movie was dragging. I felt like it got into each act at a pretty fair pace, because you're cutting between a lot of actors. And the thing you mentioned with Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Douglas, they don't take a lot of the older actors and put them in like these supporting roles that don't get a lot of screen time, because you'll see that a lot. Like first, one of the things that pops into my mind is Woman Talking. Frances McDermott's in that movie for like 3 minutes, and
I feel like there's a reason why that is, though, because it shines more on Sheila McCarthy and Judith Ivey.
Yeah. It gives the other actors time to shine, but you see like a big actor on the poster, and usually like they're barely in the movie. And this one wasn't the case. There was a lot of Michael Douglas. There was a lot of Michelle Pfeiffer. Since it's literally, I'm gonna sound like Vin Diesel saying family so much, but it was like a big sort of family get together, and how a family can work together to get out of the quantum realm, because that's not that's just a spoiler. They wind up in the quantum realm and they got to find a way out.
Yeah, I definitely feel like Michelle Pfeiffer was more of a focal point even than Evangeline Lilly. And again, like I said, I'm glad that we're seeing Michelle Pfeiffer shine, because I thought she did an amazing job in this film. Like, she kicked some ass.
She was very charming and, very cool in it, And Michael Douglas is funny, I could imagine what's going through Michael Douglas's mind as he's doing this stuff. Like, what is this magic stuff? Whatever.
Yeah, go see the film. I say go see the film, and don't look ahead for the cameos, because they were a delightful surprise to me. Definitely some faces that you will recognize from some past films, but definitely one you will recognize no matter what film this person is in, because this is a true star, which I was like, what? Did not see that coming. So again, that was fun. And it's also a character that this person does not normally play. So that was very, very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, and again, Jonathan Majors, we keep harping on it because he's so good in it. I'm excited to see more of him in these movies, because this was a big selling point movie for him. You see it in all the trailers. He's being intimidating. He's doing his Kang the Conqueror stuff. And boy, I can't wait to see what some of these other Kangs are like, because that's what Jonathan Majors does that's so cool. He doesn't use the same performance for, every Kang that because we saw the Kang that was in Loki, and now we're seeing the Kang that's in this. And although both are power hungry, whatever word you want to throw in there, they're fascinating to watch, and their performances, both characters, seem radically different. And that's a large amount of range coming from Majors. But yeah, I mean, if I were to rate this movie, I would give this one, because I rate it by Guinnesses, since I usually do my show in a bar. I'd give this one 3 out of 4 Guinnesses. It's good, not great, but hey, I can't lie. I enjoyed my time watching it.
Yeah, I agree. I would give it a 3 out of 4.
There you go. We're both in agreement. We may not agree on every particular thing with it, but you know what? Like I always say, if everyone disagrees with everything, like together universally on movies, then movies would be boring to see, and we wouldn't need critics. But yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania will be dropping in theaters this Friday,
February 17th.
Yep, February 17th. So, guys, if you want to have a good time, be taken somewhere else, be shrunken down to a cool, crazy world you haven't seen before, what do you got to lose? Check it out. Katie Glidewell from... why did I, slur on your name like I was drunk? Is there any alcohol in this? No, there isn't. Okay. Katie Glidewell, the blonde in front.
Yes.
Go check her out on social media. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And... I'm going to see if I can find a way to the quantum realm. I'm short already, so, that'll do half the work. Okay, folks, have a good one.